Are you thinking how you can change your life? Are you thinking how you can move from the experiences of your today to the experiences you desire? Whenever God wants to transform someone, He introduces a vision. The goal of Moses' spiritual leadership is nation building.
Whenever we talk about poverty, especially in Africa, all over the world,
Staying consistent. Be consistent
we always equate it to someone having,
about the impact, about everything that God achieved with Joshua.
some level of personal assets or having money in their bank account. Okay.
Yeah, so what it means is that
When you actually look at the Bible, especially
you have a leader who pursues early success.
Then there is a secondary school where you graduate from secondary school. Then there is a university that you have to go to. Whenever God wants to transform someone, He introduces a vision. The goal of Moses' spiritual leadership is nation building.
whenever we talk about poverty, especially in Africa, all over the world,
Staying consistent. Be consistent
we always equate it to someone having,
about the impact, about everything that God achieved with Joshua.
some level of personal assets or having money in their bank account. Okay.
Yeah, so what it means is that
When you actually look at the Bible, especially
you have a leader who pursues early success.
Whenever God wants to transform someone, He introduces a vision. The goal of Moses' spiritual leadership is nation building.
Whenever we talk about poverty, especially in Africa, all over the world,
Staying consistent. Be consistent
we always equate it to someone having,
about the impact, about everything that God achieved with Joshua.
some level of personal assets or having money in their bank account. Okay.
Yeah, so what it means is that
When you actually look at the Bible, especially
you have a leader who pursues early success.
Whenever God wants to transform someone, He introduces a vision. The goal of Moses' spiritual leadership is nation building.
whenever we talk about poverty, especially in Africa, all over the world,
Staying consistent. Be consistent
we always equate it to someone having,
about the impact, about everything that God achieved with Joshua.
some level of personal assets or having money in their bank account. Okay.
Yeah, so what it means is that
When you actually look at the Bible, especially
you have a leader who pursues early success.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you guys for joining today. I'm so excited to be with you guys live today. Welcome. Please, once you join us online, I would like you to introduce yourself in the chat. Tell us your name and where you are joining from. I would like to, get to know those who are online with me today. So please just go to the chat and type your name and where you are joining us from today. Okay, welcome. If you are just joining, I will also encourage you to go ahead. I have a wonderful conversation uh, uh, teaching for you guys today, and I would like you to go ahead and invite someone, okay, click the link and share the link to invite someone to this broadcast. It's going to be a wonderful conversation, believe me. I don't want you feeling like, oh, I should have invited somebody before we started. Okay, so go ahead. You have an opportunity now to, click share. Okay, and then invite your friends. Invite your family members. Invite anyone you would want to participate in this conversation. Favor from Enugu, Nigeria, joining us. Great to have you, Favor. Thank you for tuning in today. Okay, so please, as you join, go ahead and introduce yourself. Let's get to know you. We have Godson. Happy to be here. Godson, we are happy to have you as well. It's going to be an exciting conversation. So, guys, please go ahead and share the link. I promise you, it's going to be. You are going to be happy you joined us today, and anyone you will invite to this session will be very happy you invited them to this session. Okay, so I want you to go ahead and share this link. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, this might be a good opportunity to go ahead and subscribe. Okay, like, and then of course take your time to look at our previous conversation, our previous live. I'm sure there's a lot you can take out of our teachings. Okay, so go ahead. If you are joining us online, go ahead and share this link. Share it right now so that you can invite anyone that is supposed to be here. Okay, just go ahead and do it right away. Godson from Enugu, we are happy you are here. Welcome, Godson. Okay, so if you are just joining, I want to know those who are listening online. Okay, so please don't forget to tell us your name and where you are joining from so that we can get to know who you are. Okay, awesome. We are also streaming live on Facebook. So if you can go to your Facebook and search for transformersglobal.lc. We are also streaming live on Facebook, so it's an opportunity to share the link on Facebook, to people who are joining you. Okay, Julie Chukwudi from Benin, thank you for joining. Welcome, Julie. Okay, so I was just saying that we have this streaming going on Facebook as well. So if you have an account on Facebook, this might be an opportunity for you to just go to Transformers Global LC, go to our page and share the live stream so that people who are following you, people who are part of you, your friends, your family members can be part of this conversation. I promise you it's going to be exciting. Okay, welcome. Thank you everyone for joining us. I'm going to go right into this. Okay, we have Chukwudi Manuela joining from Edo State. Welcome, Ella. Great to have you. Great to have you, everyone. Okay. So today I'm going to be sharing with you on the topic I call gratitude over regrets. Okay, as you get ready to end your year, we are just getting close to the end of October. We have 2 more months to go, and that will be end of 2025, and then we are going to get into 2026. I'm also so excited to be ending the year. I'm also excited to be embracing what 2026 has in store. There are a lot of plans, there are a lot of dreams, there are a lot of things that we are pushing to accomplish in the coming year. Okay, and I'm very, very excited. I hope you are excited as me as well. Okay, I had 2 conversations with 2 different individuals who were sharing how they were unfulfilled about the year. Okay, things didn't go as they planned, and they didn't feel that all the things they planned to do in the year, that they achieved that. Okay, and of course, that and also my own personal review influenced this conversation. I know that it's not just something that is going on in their mind, it's something that is going on in the mind of everyone. Okay, as the year draws to a close, one of the things that happens is that something begins to shift inside of us. Okay, so it's not just a calendar. Okay, there is a lot of emotional attachment to the end of the year. Okay, it feels like a mirror. Many of us, as we approach the end of the year, we start looking into that mirror, and then we start reflecting. Okay, everything we did, everything we didn't do, everything we have done, things that we did that we wish that that we did not do. Okay, so what happens is that we approach the end of the year like a mirror. And what happens is that as you are looking at the mirror, it's an opportunity for you to self-reflect. So I believe that those two individuals I was speaking to in the past week, we are also approaching at the end of the year, and they were looking at the mirror to reflect on, how the year went. Did they accomplish their goals? Did they hit their targets? What were the things that they did that they were not proud of, that they wish that never happened? All those reflections, occupy our hearts. And for many people, this is now an opportunity for us to draw ourselves into, some quiet heaviness. Okay. Why many other people might be celebrating, okay, the year it's ending great. You can even see a lot of people making posts, gratitude, how this year went, how they smashed their goals. Some people are posting their best moments. Many leaders, a lot of people are, trying to say, okay, this is what I've been accomplished. And for so many of us, okay, or for some of us, this has also turned into a process of regret. It has turned into a process of disappointment. It has turned into a process of comparison. Okay. So what happens is that as people make their own posts and you see the things that they have been able to achieve, you see the things that they've been able to accomplish, what comes into your mind is now to self-reflect on, okay, what have I done? What have I accomplished? How am I hitting my goals? Okay. And for so many of us, it becomes a moment where we, move into a season of deep heaviness. Okay. And when I spoke to those two individuals, hearing the heaviness of their hearts, hearing the lack of satisfaction they are approaching the end of the year with, I also felt in my spirit that it's not just about those two individuals. It's something that is probably happening to many people, and that is why we are having this conversation today. Okay, so reflection is powerful. Okay, but without the right perspective, it easily turns into self-criticism. Okay, and that is why we are having this conversation. It is very, very powerful. One of the things I know that I practice on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, and over some seasons of my life, I've done that, for the end of the year, is that you sit, you reflect. Okay, but what happens is that if you don't reflect with the right perspective, if you don't reflect with the right mindsets, if you are not careful, it becomes an opportunity for you to start criticizing yourself. Okay, you start, looking at the end of the year, and then what comes into your mind is that first you start measuring your life by what is unfinished rather than what you have accomplished. Okay, so many of us start looking at, okay, I didn't do this, I didn't finish this, I said I'm going to do this when I was coming into the year, but I didn't get to do it. I had this plan, but I've not been able to achieve it. Okay, what happens is that because you are focusing on unfinished rather than what has accomplished, that is where you turn on that light of a criticism. So you are focusing on what you have not finished instead of, being grateful for what you have been able to accomplish. Okay. What also happens at this time is that people start comparing their plans. Okay, the plans that they have made with the realities that they have experienced. Okay, so you entered this year, maybe you said you are going to take a course, maybe you said you are going to read one book every month. Okay, maybe there are a lot of things that you have set for yourself as a target. You want to start a mentorship group, you want to do something that is going to inspire others, and when you look at those plans and then you look at your experience, you see that it does not tally, and what happens is that regrets begin to set in. Some of us also focus on time that we have lost. Okay, instead of looking at the wisdom that we have gained. Okay, so you look back and then you are asking yourself, look at all these times I've lost. This year has just passed. What did I accomplish? Okay, I can't believe I'm in October. So what did I accomplish? Many of us, find ourselves, going through that time where we are, instead of looking at what wisdom have I gained this year? How have I improved? how have I become a better person. We rather focus on the times that we have lost, the wrong decisions that we have made, and the things that we are not able to accomplish. Okay, so what happens is that we see the year through a performance lens instead of a growth lens. It is very, very important. Okay, you see the year from a performance lens instead of a growth lens. So what happens is that you are looking at your actions, you are looking at the things you did and you didn't do, but you are not appreciative of yourself on how you have grown, how you have become a better person, and how you are more prepared to fulfill the dreams that are set ahead of you. Okay, so one thing I want to draw your attention is that God did not call us to measure our worth by our results. Okay? God did not call you to measure your worth by your results. So your worth is not determined by your results. Your worth is determined by your faithfulness. Okay? So the measure is not in the magnitude of your achievements, in the magnitude of the things that you've been able to do. Am I downplaying achievements? No, that is not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that it's not, it shouldn't be the basis for you to measure yourself. Okay? If we look at the scripture, Matthew 25, verse 21, look at what the Bible said. It said, the master was full of praise. Well done, my good and faithful servant. You have been faithful in handling this small amount. So now I will give you many more responsibilities. Let's celebrate together. So you see that in light of the responsibility, no matter how small, that God has given to you, He measures and examines your life. How faithful you were, and not necessarily, your productivity or the what or the magnitude of the results that you have accomplished. Okay, so I don't want you to enter this end of the year with regrets. Rather, I want you to enter with gratitude. Okay, but for you to have gratitude, it must begin with the right mindset. It must begin with the right attitude, and that is why we are having this conversation. Okay, Transformers. This Transformers teaching that we are doing, we started it September last year, and even before we started, it was not on live. We started by just recording conversations, posting it on our website. People can go there, download, listen to that. From there, we decided to do YouTube Live. Now we are on YouTube. We've been able to grow our channel to some extent. And while I, do the review of the things that we have been able to do for this year, I was looking at how faithful I was and not necessarily the magnitude of the things that I've accomplished. And it is very important. I want you to listen. It is very, very important. Okay? So the self-criticism can begin to tell me that, okay, you've run your channel for 1 year. Okay, how many subscribers do you have? How many views do you have? Okay, there are other people who have been able to start their own channel, and in the next 6 months or in the next 1 year, they blew it up and it became something so powerful, something so great. Okay, that is what criticism tells you. Okay, but on the other part, what do I see? I also see the fact that I have been faithful. I have been faithful over a season. We started this conversation, just by having conversation on Google Meet. From there, we started doing YouTube. From there, I've picked up a lot of skills. I've picked up some editing skills, some graphic skills, trying to improve the craft of what I'm trying to do. So what I'm saying in essence is that I am not just looking at how did we grow exponentially? How many people did we attract? How many people joined? Of course, when I was looking at some of the attendance record of our meetings and our Google Meet, I saw that we reached nothing less than 200 people, unique visits, over the course of the year. That means it's people who listened or participated in the broadcast, learned something from it, and they have been able to apply it into their life. Just yesterday, I was discussing with someone, and they were telling me about a major career decision they did. Okay, and just in the middle of the conversation, the guy said, I'm happy I spoke to you. I'm happy we discussed this. You are the one that pushed me into this. I said, oh, wow. I said, oh, awesome. He said, yes, it was after listening to you that I made this major career decision. And I said, oh, wow, I'm happy I was able to push you. I'm happy you are able to do what you want to do. And I've seen one or two people tell me that listening to you, hearing this, hearing that has changed my perspective. It has changed my mind. I've become a better and a different person. So I'm not just going to sit and say, okay, in all these months that we have been able to do Transformers, how many people did we reach? No, I'm asking myself, have I been faithful? So it means that for the past 1 year, I've been faithful, appearing before this camera, appearing before the audience, whether they are 5 or whether they are 16. I have faithfully stayed committed to this process, irrespective of whether the result is going high or it's going low. Are there things I should have done better? Of course. Are there opportunities I missed? Of course. Are there times I didn't move as fast as I should, or I didn't take decisions as I'm supposed to do? Of course. Okay. There are things that looking back, I would think, okay, I should have done this better. When I sat down with God to review some of the things He wanted me to do, the goal of God in His heart concerning Transformers, I saw some of the things that were not picked up. Okay, but the plan is not to look at those things in a way to bring in self-criticism to stop me from being grateful for the things that I've been able to do, but rather it should propel me to review, clarify, and then plan and program for the next steps to make it better and to increase the result and to increase the impact. Okay, so don't let what you have not accomplished overshadow areas of your faithfulness. I want you to write this down. For someone, you might need to meditate on this tonight. Don't let what you have not accomplished overshadow areas you have been faithful. Okay, so there are things that you have done this year you are not supposed to have you have done. You regret it. I know. Okay, there are decisions you made you are not supposed to have made. I know. There are opportunities you are supposed to take that you didn't take. I know. Okay, I understand that. But there are some other areas of your life you have also been faithful. I've been a faithful husband. I've been a faithful father. I've been faithful in this process in what we are doing. For the past 1 year, there are things that I have been able to do. There are processes I've been faithfully committed to achieving, irrespective of things that I didn't do well. So don't shift your focus on the things that you didn't accomplish. Don't keep it there. No, keep it on the areas you have been faithful. And then what happens is that it turns that attitude of gratefulness, it turns that attitude of excitement, it turns that attitude of saying, okay, 2025 was a great year. I'm ready to embrace 2026. Okay, for some of us, social media is powerful. It's giving us opportunity to do what we are doing now. But for some of us, I also think that it has become a way, for us to, look at comparison. Okay, unmet expectations begins to fuel some certain level of discontentment. Okay, so when you look at social media as people will say how time flies, but at the end of the day, this is what I've been able to accomplish. So you see people posting their promotions. I've seen maybe my friends on LinkedIn posting, oh, I got double promotion, or I got a new job, or I got this. So you see engagements and weddings. Okay, you see relocation success stories. Maybe you are in some part of the world and some people relocated and they are talking about it and they are grateful and happy. And when you look at those success stories, what happens is that you now begin to have this heartache. You now begin to have, as you scroll and read other people's story, as you scroll and see what is happening in the life of others, what begins to happen to you is that you now begin to ask yourself, why isn't my life moving the way other people's life are moving? Why isn't my life accomplishing the result? Why isn't God doing this for me? Okay, but this person prayed, God answered. But I prayed also. Our situation looks similar. How come God answered them and they didn't answer me? Why social media is a very great tool to connect, to accomplish a lot of results. Okay, if we are not careful as we get to the end of the year, it can become a source of social comparison. And for so many of us, it becomes an opportunity for us to move in regret instead of moving in gratitude. Okay? Comparison quietly breeds some form of discontentment. Okay? Not because you are jealous, but because you lose sight of your unique journey and timing. Listen to this. Everybody's journey is unique. Everybody's journey is specific, and it has to do a lot with your timing. Look at what the scripture says in Galatians 6, verse 4. It says, pay careful attention to your own work. Okay? It said, to your own work. For then you will get the satisfaction of a job well done. So the satisfaction of a job well done does not necessarily come in accomplishing what looks like something powerful in the eyes of others, but rather is accomplishing something that is unique to you, that is connected to your own job. He said, pay careful attention to your own work. Let me just finish it for you. For then you will get the satisfaction of a job well done. And you don't need to compare yourself to anyone else. Okay? He said you don't need to compare yourself to anyone else. What I'm trying to say is that as you come to the end of the year, you don't have to compare yourself with anyone else. Just recently, I can't remember what we were sharing, but I remember, giving my wife an analogy of an elephant and a rabbit. Okay, so the gestation period, it takes elephants almost 2 years to give birth to a baby. About 24 months. Okay, so what happens is that while the elephant is pregnant, okay, yeah, I remember we were talking about faith. I was explaining something to her on faith. And then just thinking about it, I think it also fits into the conversation that we are having on timing. Okay, so someone can be an elephant and the other person can be a rabbit. Okay, now an elephant becomes pregnant, takes in, and it's going to take that elephant almost 24 months to carry that baby into a full tenure and then to be able to give birth, to a baby elephant. Okay, but you see a rabbit in a space of 3 months and 6 months, a rabbit has also given birth to a child. Lots of children. Sometimes they give birth to 6, sometimes they give birth to more than 6. Okay, and what happens is that while the elephant is still moving, and this elephant is big and heavy, you might not even notice that they are carrying a baby. Okay, so sometimes you are carrying a testimony that you are not noticing. You are carrying some level of progress, some level of impact that to you it is nothing. Okay, but you are focusing your attention on a rabbit that is reproducing almost every 6 months. And what happens is that by the next 6 months, the baby rabbits have grown, okay, and have also reproduced. So while the elephant is waiting for 2 years to give birth to a single baby, the rabbit must have procreated even to a third generation. And what happens is that because you don't understand your own uniqueness, because you don't understand your unique timing, because you don't understand that we are not created in the same way, we don't all have the same talents, you start comparing yourself with others. You start looking at what you don't have. You start looking at what you have not accomplished, even though you are unique and you are powerful, favored, and blessed where you are. Okay, so the spiritual danger of what I'm sharing with you is that it begins to bring you to a place where you even start questioning God. So imagine an elephant questioning God, moving around. Oh, this is how many years now? I don't have a single baby. Look at this elephant. Look at this baby rabbit. Look at all the children. Look at all the things that this baby elephant has been able, baby rabbit have been able to do. But look at me. There's no progress in my life. Nothing seems to be working. You can begin to question God. You can begin to doubt God. You can begin to spite God. It can even take you to a point where you now start doing things that you are not supposed to do in the first place. Okay? Some people start saying, if only I had done this, if only that door opened, if only I didn't make that mistake. Why those phrases might look something like it's not harmless, one of the things I want to say is that it anchors you on regret instead of revelation. Okay? It anchors you on the past instead of the future. It anchors you on your failures instead of your dreams. Okay? And it is your vision, your dreams, your revelation that moves your life forward, not your past, not your regrets, not the things that you couldn't do or don't have. Okay? So, as we begin to summarize this conversation, one of the things I want you to do is that don't keep your focus on your past. Okay? It's going to blind you from God's faithfulness, and it's going to blind you from what God is doing in your life currently. It's going to rob you of your joy and expectations of what is ahead of you. Okay? So, what do? You turn that into understanding where you are, understanding the uniqueness of your journey and your timing, looking at your growth process, looking at the things that you have been able to do as a person. You know, one of the things my reflection did for me is that I looked at different areas of my life. I looked at my relationship with my wife. I looked at my relationship with my children. I looked at my business interests. I looked at some of the things that God has put into my hands. And the areas that I have not done well, what did I do? Is that I went back, I made some reflections, recommitment, aligned myself with God's purpose for my life. I'm just nearing 18 years of marriage, and when I sat, I was reflecting over my marriage, reflecting over how good I have been as a husband. And to be honest with you, I've not been a good husband the according to the parameter of God. People might look at you and say, "Oh, this guy is good," but when you now go before God and you see God's expectation as a husband, I did not meet up to that expectation. I did not meet up to that expectation. So what did I do? I reconciled with God. I made peace, aligned my vision, aligned my focus for the next step. I called my wife. I did a renewal of marriage. I did a renewal of vow. I prepared my heart to what is ahead, not the mistakes that I have done in my past, not the mistakes of my yesterday, but what I can do better in the future. Okay? So as I close this, remember to keep your eyes on the things that you have been able to accomplish this year, on the areas of your life you have been faithful. Okay? Gratitude then shift your eyes to what still can be. The moment you start looking at those areas you have been faithful and you start becoming grateful to God and you start begin to show gratitude, what happens is that it starts moving your eyes to what can be. Okay? And that's where God does his best work, not in your regret, but in your redemption. Okay? God does his best work not in your regret, but in your redemption. Not in your failures, not in your past, but in your revelation, your vision, and your dreams. Okay? As we wrap up this year, I want to do a series starting from the 4th of November. I'm going to be starting, a new series, and that's the series I'm going to be using to end this year. Okay? And very soon, maybe from tomorrow, you guys will see the flyer. I want you to mark the date, invite people, because I'm going to be sharing powerful things. The title of that series is going to be End Your Year Strong. Okay? End your year strong. Finish this year right and live next year with total freedom. Okay? End your year strong. Finish this year right and live next year with total freedom. Okay? So it's going to be a 5-week series. We are going to look at clarity, we are going to look at purpose, and also how to create unstoppable results. Okay? So if you are tired of starting your year behind, okay, you don't want to always start your year not knowing where you are supposed to be where you are supposed to go. No, I always try as much as possible. By the end of October, I should know where I am. I've done my evaluation for the year and I've prepared for the next year. Okay, so I'm going to share with you guys about 5 key pillars of mastery that will help you guarantee your goals for next year. I'm going to share with you guys principles that will help you, that has helped me, to release the stress, release the guilt of unfulfilled, resolutions, unfulfilled promises, and maybe mistakes and wrong decisions that you've made. We are going to look at that. And then what I'm going to do in this series is that I'm going to help you design a life of deep purpose, and then help you also to, design a productivity system that will enable you to achieve, great results in every area of your life. Okay, so I want you to have total freedom for the next 12 months of your life as we move into 2026. And that is why I've prepared this series. So go ahead, invite people, to be part of it. It's starting 4th of November. And you can't miss this conversation. You can't miss this series. It's going to be a great way to end your year and to prepare, for the year ahead. And the beautiful thing is that we are doing it in November. So you are going to have the whole of December to pray, to plan, to realign yourself, and to make sure that you are doing things the way that you should do it. Okay. Part of what I'm going to do is that after I did a review, we have done 1 year of Transformers. There are some things that God placed in my heart, areas we need to, put our focus, things that we need to adjust on. So in the course of that teaching, I'm going to be sharing that. So if you consider yourself part of the Transformers family, if you consider yourself part of, what God wants to do, through this platform, also don't miss those teachings, because I'm going to be sharing, some of the things that God is laying in our heart, and some, focus that we are going to, areas of focus we are going to be moving into next year, and some of the things that we are going to be doing. Okay. Also, before we end this session, I want to remind us that there's always a change in time every March and every October, between Nigerian time and UK time. So what happens is that on the 26th, which is next Sunday, the timing is going to change. Okay, so if you are tuning in from West Africa, what you are going to discover is that you are now going to move 1 hour ahead of us while we move behind. Okay, so to make sure that we accommodate this meeting, we are going to also be making adjustments in time. If you joined us last year, you also noticed that happened as well. So from next week, our meeting will be holding from 7 p.m. okay, West African time, and then 6 p.m. UK time. It will also be on the flyer. We are going to be sending that information out, so that we can all prepare our hearts for it. Okay, it's going to be 7 p.m. West African time and 6 p.m. UK time. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you for joining. I hope it was a wonderful session. Like I promised you guys, it was going to be when we are starting. If you have any question, if you have anything you would like to say, you can just quickly go to the chat, and drop it. And if I can use the next few minutes, in the next 2 or 3 minutes, to answer a specific question from anyone, this is a good time to do that. Okay. One of the things that stood out for me when I was penning down this conversation, was the part where I told you guys to write down that don't let what you have not accomplished overshadow areas you have been faithful. Okay? Don't let what you have not accomplished overshadow areas you have not been faithful. Okay? There are things, if you look at your life from January to December, there are moments where you didn't do things right. Okay? Or there are moments where you did not even make any decision at all. Don't let those moments overshadow all the other times that you have been faithful. Okay? It can be in your spiritual life. Somebody will say, there are things I plan to do in my spiritual life that I didn't plan, but there are things that you did. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that you have some areas that you have been faithful. You have some areas you have been able to do something about. Don't let what you didn't do also overshadow those areas. Okay? Remember, God is not just looking at you from the area of productivity. God is looking at you on how faithful and how consistent you are. And I also want to use this opportunity to thank you guys, all of you who have been part of, Transformers family, in this past 1 year, sharing this conversation, learning from this conversation, inviting others to be part of it. This is also an opportunity for me to say a very big thank you, for your support, for being part of what God is doing. And I know that the next coming year is going to be an exciting one. There's a lot God is preparing for us. In the course of next week, 2 weeks' time, I'm going to be sharing all that. And I believe that this platform will continue to be a blessing to you, to the vision that God has placed in your heart, to the things that God has called you and prepared you to do. Okay? And once again, I want to thank you all, for being part of this. Okay? So quickly go in the chat box and let me know how this session was for you. While we are signing out, you can still go ahead and post your questions, and we will try as much as possible to reply you. If you are in any of our platforms, you can also ask in the platform, and it could be me or anyone will just reply you and help you to understand the areas where you have questions. I hope and I believe that this has been of great impact to you. One other thing I also want you to do is to drop us a message. It can be to me directly, it can be on our platforms, it can be anywhere you are connecting on our Facebook platform. Just let us know how this conversation has helped you this year, how it has made impact in your life. And if there are other areas you want us to look at, if there are other areas of improvement you want us to look at, please, we would like to hear from you. We would like you to share your feedback. Okay. Thank you very much, and God bless you. Okay. Okay, I saw some other names. Kevin, happy to be here. Kevin, we are happy to see you. Kosiso, we are happy to see you. Marcelina, great to be here. We are happy to see you as well. Thank you so much, guys, for tuning in, and may God bless you. I'm going to see you guys next week. Remember, the time is 7 p.m. from West Africa. And then if you're joining from the UK, it's 6 p.m. Okay? And don't forget to share with others, like, comment, and also subscribe. God bless you.